Alright, what is up, guys? Today we'll be going over domain and range as well as intervals and interval notation. So, basic overview of what domain is just the maximum and minimum values of x on a function. Range is very similar, it's just the maximum and minimum of the y values of a function. So an example would be if you have something that looks like this, like a is less than x is less than b. That basically means that between a and b, which could be any numbers, it could be like a -3 and a 7 or something like that. A -10 and 10 is a common one. -5 and 5 is another common one, but it can be whatever you want. And often the domain is what's restricted, and you're asked to find the range. Sometimes it can be the opposite, but generally you're going to want to have domain and know how to figure out the range. So the easiest way to do that is simply by coming to your trusty calculator here, putting in whatever equation it is. Let's say it's 2x. Put a comma here, then put x, or bind it actually. This x is less than 7 or something of that nature. And then you could also put the other side here and see it's greater than or equal to 0. And that will automatically restrict your domain here. So see how this maximum is 7, this minimum is 0. That's an easy trick to be able to figure out where exactly your maximum y values are, in this case 14, and your minimum values are, which is 0 in this case. That's just a pretty simple way of figuring it out using a calculator. Other ones, you'll be able to restrict it as well in different ways, but this is just how you do it on Desmos. But the simplest way to mathematically figure one out is simply by multiplying or plugging in, rather, these different bounds, which is the lower and upper bounds of the equation. So you would plug in 0 here to find the lower bound, which would be 0x, which is 0. And then over here, 7 into x, and then 2 times 7 is 14, which is how you get that number up here. And yeah, hopefully that made sense to you guys. So that is how you get the range from the domain. It's the exact same in the opposite fashion. You would just plug in the y values here and solve for x, which you've done before, so that should be pretty easy as well. Over here, you can kind of see these parentheses and brackets. All that means is it's a different representation of this that you've seen before over here. So these brackets essentially just mean that those values are included in there, or it'll be a solid circle in most cases. These parentheses mean it's not included, so that would be an open circle. So if, let's say, we had this here, 0 is not included in here. So the point 0, 0 would technically be undefined. This, I know this shows it as a point here, but if you actually slide along this graph, it's undefined and there's a hole there. And then that's just how the parentheses work. And yeah, that's basically all you need to know about domain and range and intervals. They'll be helpful for you in all cases, but the most significant parts are probably going to be when you do piecewise functions later on in Algebra 2 and Pre-Calc. And yeah, that's all you need to know.